Well, if there's one thing this chapter taught me, it's that Guild Thunder, you are a horrible father! What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact. This chapter, it's just a teeny, tiny, itty, bitty bit peak. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know Kion is it even... Like, I know people are still, like, mixed on Gawain and how they feel about her as the legacy of Escanor and Merlin. I'd say people are more so happy with her Merlin legacy. People are a lot less happy with her Escanor legacy, considering she's rarely using the abilities. We still don't really know how Dawn works. But I'd say out of, like, our main crew, our 4 knights, and then 3 Tristram 2 members, so that's 7. And then 2. Our 9-man band, as it were. I feel like Kion is the most consistently controversial. Like, you can go to 10 different fans of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, and you will not nigh on get either a 50-50 split of people who like Kion or people who don't like Kion, and or you'll get, like, 10 different opinions. He's that, like, complex and complicated a character, which I do respect Nakaba for making and committing to the bit, gosh darn it, because, man, Kion, he's a character of characters, alright. But with that being the case, this chapter, let's just say it justifies the glaze, alright? Like, on a level that I think did indirect but insane damage to another one of the fan favorite characters, it justified the glaze. It made me appreciate Kion as a character a whole lot more. Maybe not appreciate, because I think I've been like flip-flopping on Kion from whether or not I like him or don't like him, but I definitely have been more on the like Kion train recently, from his powers to his personality to how he reacts and acts in certain situations. I find myself relating to Kion a lot, which is crazy to think about, but overall, this chapter, I think it is the chapter that's kind of there to make you like Kion, or at least understand why Kion is the way he is 100%, not just through hints and subtext anymore. Nakaba smacks it on the table and says, "Look at it!" And, of course, I am here, and I looked at it. But let's not talk in vague niceties anymore. Let's hop right into chapter 179, Tristan and Kion. One thing I do want to note, though, I'm pretty sure this was already revealed in the extra chapter that featured Kion's backstory, which I didn't end up reviewing, but I may end up reviewing one day. Once again, I keep saying that, but then I keep pushing it further and further and further and further back. So I think for my own sanity, I'll one day review it. But that being the case, I do love the idea that these 4, someone name them all. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back in time. Someone named them all for me. I know the fire spirit is Salamander. The ground spirit is Gnome. The water spirit is Undyne. What is the is it called Tempest? I forget what the wind spirit is called, but someone was gracious enough to remind me of my dumb bubblegum self and be like, "Hey, Pencil, you know those names we heard a whole bunch of times? Here they are again, because clearly you forgot." But let me see. I'm gonna go back in time, back to reality, back in time. Wait. It's not that one. It's that one. Yeah, baby. Wait a minute. Where is it? I know 3 of the 4. Why do I not know the 4th one? No! Where is it? Fire spirit, yes. The fire spirit is Salamander, the earth spirit is Gnome, the air spirit is Sylph, and the water spirit is Undyne. I do like the idea that they've been with Kion ever since he first awakened the spirit arts. They are his most loyal Pokemon. And they almost are, they're so close to being starter Pokemon coded. We have the fire type, we have the fire type that should be a dragon type as well, but it's just a fire type. We have the water type, but then we have a flying type and a ground type, when realistically it should be a grass type for the complete Pokemon reference, but still, we'll take it. I like that they're here from the beginning. And while I do think, at least so far, it's real that they kind of gotten crept, obviously we have another pair of Earth Spirits. We have Gogmagog, so clearly Gnome has kind of been crept. And, well, I mean, Undyne, like, they got their uses. They definitely got their uses, but I'm kind of worried for these 4, that as the series progresses and we get more and more powerful opponents, that they'll be less and less relevant. Though, admittedly, we saw that Salamander can amp himself, so, like, maybe the others can do that too with the right circumstance, but like, for all intents and purposes, no one had the perfect circumstances, and Kion still just went to a higher elemental. But with that being the case, let's hop right into chapter 179, Tristan and Kion. As we can see, Kion's looking mad young here, and Capital Knee starts glazing to a point where I'm like, darn, I know those rings hide malicious intent and suppress it actively, but how foolish can y'all be? As Capital Knee declares, unless there's no there, I'm just huffing my straight copium, Now, this battle is even harder to predict than ever before. Kion's elemental magic has been answered by Tantress's darker force. So, clearly, they're able to recognize that that's dark magic. Darkness. You know, from the guy who was just using light magic or a light force. Yeah, light magic, huh? Light and darkness? Strange. This sounds like a certain hybrid child of Meliodas and Elizabeth, huh? And what's that in his hand? Oh, the coffin of eternal darkness. I wonder just who this individual... But I know it's literally the rings, but those rings are cracked. Some of the most solid, top-tier illusionist magic we've seen in the whole manga. Because, dog, diggity dog, how does he not know? Like we don't even have to ask, does he know? No, he just doesn't know. He sees he sees a Twilight hybrid wielding the coffin of eternal darkness and is like, chilling. So that is absurd to me. But still, hey, respect on Gawain's potency of magic. Unless it's going to end up being revealed that Gother has been secretly like a rock. Because we know he can literally turn into a rock. He can change other people's perception of him passively with like an AoE spell. So unless it's been revealed that he's like a rock amping Gawain's illusory magic to the moon and back, her mental magic, then this is just a crazy Gawain feat. Like, that is actually insane. They should never take these rings off. As long as literally, as long as they're in Camelot, if they are this effective, she should literally never have them take them off. They're rings too. They aren't big and heavy. They don't have any specific thing. They're just rings. Tristan can keep them in his hair. Everyone else can keep it on their fingers, and they'd be good. But with it being the case, obviously Tristan or Tantress is freaking and geeking just a little bit in Demon Mark. But Kion stands unafraid, and we'll find out he's unafraid for a very good reason on top of his regular glaze, as he declares, "No one is as brave and kind-hearted as Prince Tristan." Now, while I said earlier that this chapter does definitely justify the glaze, and overall that is a good thing, he's wrong on both fronts. For the first one, brave? I wonder which of the four Knights of the Apocalypse, which Kion has definitely met and interacted with, would be the bravest of the Lance. It'd be or Percy, but I'm gonna say Lance. Like, Nanashi literally glazed him through... No, Arthur through Nanashi literally glazed to the moon and back Lance's bravery. If you have the final villain giving you props about how brave and well-minded and top tier you are, then I think he's probably braver than Tristan, if I had to hazard a guess. And for the kind-hearted part, I mean, he's a real nice guy. He's a real cool dude. Like, I won't sit here and deny that. Well, cool and nice may not be equal adjectives in this whole equation. But still, regardless, I can admit he's a pretty cool cat. But, like, you got Percy. You got Percy right there, big dog. You got Big P himself right there. You want to talk about kind-hearted? Man, admittedly, I'd give it a pass if maybe Kion had seen more. Well, then again, he has seen a pretty decent chunk. But had, like, a pretty solid comprehension of current Percy. Current Percy may just be a demon, but come on now, the no one is as brave and kind-hearted. I got two people, one of those two who doubled down, and I'd say Lance is even pretty kind-hearted. He's a pretty soft boy. He did like his mama for real. But when we get further into the chapter, allow me to take a sip. Have you hydrated today? Because I have not as much as I should have. So let me take another sip right now. The sip is in fact heavenly. Make sure you stay hydrated, folks. Trust me, you can go 2 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And honestly, drink your water anyway. Don't just drink sodas, or teas, or juices. Make sure you drink water. It is the most natural filtration system that's built into the planet. It is 0 calories, and all it'll do is help wash it out. So make sure you drink your water, folks. It's very important. But we see that Tantress is once again interested in the idea of this strange yet brave-hearted and kind-hearted Prince Tristan, as he says, "Then can you show me what makes him so great. So, once again, I do like it. Honestly, this is a very interesting but cool way to play a multi-identity, all-around mystery, like something happened to his personality. This is a great way to play it. Why does it do that? I don't know why it does that. Is it? No, I didn't even touch the wire. Like I have no idea why it does that. And I saw it editing. That does just happen. The screen does just randomly go. I know what, and it reset me. Hold on a second. Well, peep the gains. Peep the gains. The gains are looking low-key immaculate right now. Ugh, yeah. I hit the gym a while ago. I hit the gym this morning. Ooh, but yo, beat the trash. But that aside, we do not need to be this far out. We need to zoom. Did I jack that up? No, I did not. We're gonna zoom. Or not. Or maybe we won't zoom. Or maybe we'll just instantly reset anyway. In spite of my wishes. That could happen too. Okay, looks like I don't have the choice in the matter. It is not letting me zoom. So, yeah. That's pretty, buku bonkers, if I do say so myself. So it looks like we're gonna be at this range, folks. Hi. That guy with the pencil, Lorge, not zoomed in on my face. Hold on. I guess I can be more expressive with my hands in this case. So, like, hey. But that being the case, I do like how Tantris is genuinely interested in this other person. Clearly, he hears them consistently call him Tristan. In fact, I'm going to alter the angle just slightly, because this is bothering me. I don't like the way he's looking. Yeah, that's a bit better. That's a bit. Let's see if we can cover the mic entire. Yeah, baby. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Peep the keyboard. But regardless, I do like how their dedication and their respect and their reverence for Tristan is actively catching Tantris' eye. He has no idea who Tristan is. He doesn't get why they keep calling him that. He, in fact, doesn't like it. He, in his own mind, has a name. But ultimately, the sheer dedication they have to the bit just has Tantris being like, he's got to be something crazy. He's got to be something different. Like, tell me about this man. Show me why you refuse to hop off this man's meat. Because this is absolutely getting genuinely absurd. And I like that. I like that. And it does make me wonder, like, obviously we'll never end up in this scenario, but I wonder if there is a possibility that, like, the sheer passion and connection someone could have to you as you are could hypothetically wake you up if you did become another person. Say you had lost your memory or something. And I know there are cases of that. There are people who have gotten amnesia, but then, like, they meet the right sort of stimulus and it can come flooding back, like, all at once, can come flooding back in pieces. Like, it is possible. And I assume that's the kind of route that Nakama's going for Tantris, and I actually really like that. And honestly, it's gonna be kind of crazy seeing Tantris just, I guess, die. Even though it's, like, just an ego death. He's still gonna be Tantris, but just Tristan. It is very interesting to see how he wants to see and hear more about this other person who he doesn't know and recognize. But with it being the case, we see that Tristan, or Tantris, is like, oh yeah, I want you to show me. But I want you to show me with them hands. And he lunges in, both blades swanging. And of course, Kion responds in kind. And I do love it. I do love how Kion truly fights through his summons. He raises his hand and immediately Gog Magog goes to work. I do love the mutation of, I'm not sure which one is Gog, which is Magog. But I do love how my little chunky, amazing little squishy boy became spiky for some reason. Like, I think this is him firing out these blasts of energy to contend with Tantris. But it still is cool, and I respect it. Obviously, we'll find out later that Tantris is, well, he's cranking it down a little bit. So do Gog Magog absolutely ruffle stomp like half the commandments, because, you know, they scale to a Demon Mark Tristan, who, with 2 years of training, that prior, when barely in control of himself, absolutely body bagged Meligalon, a fused Chaos Commandment, who, at least according to Galon, was stronger than he'd ever been. I mean, you could get kind above them if you really want to, but we'll see that Tristan, or DM Tantris, is just a little bit different. He's still essentially using this as a show of force. Essentially trying, well, not even a show of force. He's using this specifically to get as much information about this strange, funny little fella known as Tristan. And we do see him clash and clang very impressively against these two golems, and Kion decides to drop the lore. Now, how much of this is, like, being genuinely spoken in this battle is unknown. I'm not sure if, like, this portion of the fight happens, then we cut 2 seconds later, and then we get to the end of the chapter, and or if this, like, kind is literally explaining it. Because he says, What makes him so great? It's as clear as day. And suddenly, we're back in time. Back to reality as we go to 6 years ago in Leonis. Master Kion! Master Kion? And Kion, at age 12, locked away in an ivory tower reading a book with his haircut. And we see that one of the guards, poor bucktooth fella, says, "It's such a lovely day outside. Care for a walk in the courtyard?" And we see one of the maids come and say, "I just baked these treats up for you. Would you care for some?" And we see, while both guard and maid are attempting to reach out and connect to Kion somewhat, Kion simply says, "I'll pass." And you know, he better than me. You offer 12-year-old me treats? Baked goods? I'd be like, "Give them to me with a cup of milk, please." Even current me finds it hard to turn down. Like, I baked the other day. I baked a whole, I just followed like an online sugar cookie recipe. I baked a whole rack of them. It was 2 sticks of butter, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, had the baking powder, everything, the sugar, like it was like a cup and a half of sugar. Like it was a lot. The vanilla extract, everything. And not only that, I didn't just stop there, because the recipe said, you know, you just drizzle them in a little bit of sugar and you roll the little dough balls in the sugar, then you bake them. No. I got out a whole container of rainbow sprinkles. I drizzled that bad boy in a bowl, and I rolled up each ball, and I covered them completely in sprinkles, and I threw them in there. Delicious. Scrumdiddlyumptious. I had 2 of them like 2-3 days ago. Oh, they were smacking. Oh, they were smacking. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. I had to stop at 2. Because I would have lost it all. And then not only that, that same day, since I had the mixer out already, there's this there's a restaurant I go to that serves this like key lime pie dessert. It's not actually key lime pie, I don't think, but it's like a bootleg version of where they got like crumbled graham crackers at the bottom, then a layer of like key lime pie filling, and then another layer of graham crackers, another layer of key lime pie filling, and they cover it with, it's not whipped cream, because I looked up, I tried to do it, absolutely from the bag on that one. It's like something blowtorched. It's delicious. I don't know how to make that. I'm still trying to figure out how to make that in particular, because it was so good. But I made that. I got the cottage cheese. I got the sweetened condensed milk. I sliced up and squeezed 4 limes into it. I mixed that bad boy in the mixer, and that came out delicious too. I got mad creative because like the recipe I was following said use a food processor to break up these graham crackers. And I initially, when I went to the store, I was like, okay, let me see if I can find these graham crackers like pre-crushed, but I couldn't, because you know, I don't know, stock, and I couldn't find them, and my store didn't have them. So I got like just actual boxes of graham crackers. And I was like, how on earth am I going to crush these? Am I just going to go like one by one, hand by hand? But then I had a Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment where I was like, I have the mixer out. I have a mixing tool. I have enough graham crackers. Why not and I threw them in the bowl and I crushed it up, and then once again I didn't eat that same day because I was trying to be good. And then I waited 2 days, same day I had them cookies. I got me a layer. I poured in a little bit of that crushed graham cracker, poured in that key lime pie filling. Oh, I put a little bit of whipped cream on top. Oh, it smoked. It was delicious. So even now, all that to say, even now, I find it hard to turn down sweets. Kellogg's got me, bro. I've been addicted to sugar since a young age, guys. I get why they want to classify. Like, I remember it never went through because I think like all the cereal and any like, because a lot of people from Coca-Cola to any soda company ever, like they have a bunch of stake in sugar, like sugar. So like getting it classified as any sort of like stimulant and or la droga is not a thing they would have wanted. But I get why. I get why they're like, maybe we should classify it. Like it's not the booger sugar, but like. Clearly, it has adverse and addictive effects. But, you know, enough money slides up to the side. So, I give Kion credit. To be able to resist the baked treats, especially freshly baked, too. Freshly baked. Wait until you took all my willpower to not pop one of them nice, ooey, gooey, soft, hot, delicious cookies in a glass of milk. And, oh, I'm sorry. I've sounded way too big back right now. Let me continue. As Kion says, I'll pass. And we get a little bit of catch up. Essentially, if you didn't read the extra chapter covering Kion's backstory, he was kidnapped by Vivian. And she got quite large in that backstory. And he says, I was kidnapped at a young age. The deed was done by a royal mage obsessed with my father. As I lived with her, I found my talents. learned elemental magic, and escaped all by myself. So yeah, this file confirms he did have I think it was confirmed in the backstory. Salamander, Gnome, Undyne, Inself. He did have all of these. They were his first starter Pokemon. Now, once again, someone had a fantastic theory. Because I had asked last chapter, how on earth does summoning these things work? We know that when Ironside ended up summoning a life spirit, that actually ended up taking some of his life. Like, in order to do that, he had to, like, sacrifice some of his own lifespan. Which now is presumably undone by the Chaos Infusion he had. That's another chapter I need to go back and read. But that was a sacrifice that he had to make. We don't know how much of a sacrifice he had to make to summon the king of, like, the wind spirits, like the king of the sylphs. But I do genuinely wonder if we'll ever get an elaboration. Someone had a perfect comment where, like, apparently they theorized that maybe to summon it and get a contract with the spirit, you need to sacrifice a portion of your lifespan. And obviously, the higher end the spirit, the more of your lifespan you have to sacrifice. But then once you summon them, you can either control them fully autonomously because you already paid the life force and you're not going to get that back, or the more you command them to move in certain ways, the more magic force it costs. We just don't see it with Kion because he's not going all out, quote unquote, or he hasn't used up everything. But either way, that'd be interesting. I'd love to see, like, a tragic story where Kion dies at, like, 30 because he has to summon, like, a super powerful spirit that's beyond his pay grade, and ultimately he can't keep up with it. Kind of like how, I watched a whole, like, 2-hour and 12-minute video on Fire Emblem 3 Houses recently, so I have it on the mind. So, light spoilers for Fire Emblem 3 Houses, skip, like, 30 seconds ahead if you don't want it. But kind of like how, like, Scythia and Edelgard will die very, very early, unless, like, there's a certain paired ending. I think it's the Hanneman and Lindhart paired ending for, I think, just like Scythia. I'm not sure if it's ever confirmed. I think Edelgard just lives, quote unquote, for a while. But essentially, in those endings, or no, without those endings, they die early because they have 2 crests, and that drastically shorten their lifespan. It could be the same thing with the elemental spirits, where the more and more spirits you summon, the higher and higher level they are, the more and more of your lifespan you lose, and kind of could die like 20. He's 18 now. It didn't seem any too worse for wear, but then again, if the cost is coming off your lifespan, who knows? But with it being the case, we see that we get reminded that, but my 6-year absence created a wall between myself and others. Jade and Isolde at the village fest? The castle guards and servants were always on pins and needles around me. My overprotective parents kept me locked in the castle day and night. So, here's the thing. First things first, 6 years is crazy to be without your kid. So, I'll justify their base reactions here. I can't tell you, once again, I do not have kids. I can't tell you how I would react if my own offspring was spontaneously stolen from me by a mystical magical witch, or just stolen from me in general. Like, say in our human context, I took them to the park, I blinked and they were gone. Like something like that happened, and Chris was gone for 6 years. I do get becoming paranoid as all get out. Especially, even if I did have other kids, I'd be super paranoid of those other kids getting kidnapped too. But notably, Guild Thunder and Margaret have 1 kid. That is Kion. Just like Elizabeth and Meliodas have 1 kid, and that's Tristan. And that's why I'm so shocked that they were so calm about him going missing in Camelot. But with that being the case, I can definitely understand the guards and the servants' reactions to Kion, because, like, it's obviously a sensitive subject. That's clearly very traumatizing. It took Kion from a loving young boy to Kion. Though admittedly, as we saw in the flashback of flashbacks, like the Jade flashback in particular, Kion has always sort of been a glazer of Tristan and very high and posh and mighty, but he did change a whole lot after coming back, because naturally he was traumatized. And ultimately his parents don't know how to deal with that. Neither do the guards and servants. And I don't necessarily well, here's the thing. This isn't the bad parenting moment from Guild Thunder. We're going to get that later. But I can kind of understand both Guild Thunder and Margaret's initial reaction to this, because it'd be terrifying. It'd be horrifying. Like, I don't know. I'd be paranoid too. If anything, I wouldn't just seal them away in the house. I'd be, like, spending all my time with them. Especially, like, I have to make up for 6 years of lost time. Like, I don't know. While I don't remember a lot of my age from 6 to 12, I'm assuming that's a very developmental period in my life. I know I only became conscious around, like, 4 or 5. So, like, fresh consciousness me. I can't imagine what it'd be like if I disappeared from my parents for 6 years and was raised by an evil witch. Like, that'd be absurd. Or even just raised by someone who's not my family. Like, I would be a completely different person. So, honestly, I'd probably double down even worse. I'd just be hovering around my kid trying to figure out what's different about them, see what still aligns with them, see what I have to work around and fix. But Guild Thunder and Margaret seem to take the lock them away, keep them away. And I do kind of get that, because ultimately, 1, they do have responsibility. Well, I'm not sure what Margaret's responsibilities are, because she's not queen. So, like, Margaret, you can spend more time with your kid. But Guild Thunder in particular, I believe he's currently the captain of the Royal Knights. So, like, he does have a job that he needs to attend to that is important as well, not just his kid. So them locking him away, I do get it, because they locked him in a protective barrier and then hope that he would never get taken again because of the protective barrier. But regardless, we see this protective barrier is not perfect, or specifically not airtight, as a certain someone walks in. Hey, Kion! Want to go on a horseback outing? You got one for your birthday, right? Which is great. I don't know. Would I give 12-year-old my 12-year-old? Well, then again, I know, like, there are a lot of people I know who are raised on horses, and, like, and not just, like, on horses because they grew up on a farm, but, like, just in general, like, people did get horses. Like, that, like, ponies real young, too. So, I mean, this is actually probably kind of normal, just for, like, royal people, like these two. But we see Tristan at age 12. The boy... Guys aren't, the boy has not aged, but we see that he is a gleaming bright beacon of light who doesn't really look at Kion in any strange way. Notably, he's the only one to not look at Kion with any sort of hesitation. Look at the guard, look at the servant, even look at his parents. They all have this, like, soft, almost defeated look in their eyes. Like, they know that the boy they once knew and loved and praised is gone, scarred permanently, no longer real. But Tristan doesn't really care about all that. He just sees his cousin by paper, because they're not cousin by blood. But we do get to see that Kion looks and says, "Did His Majesty and the Queen ask you to invite me? You don't have to fret about me." And I do get that. Once again, Kion, especially considering he spent a majority of this new life where he's been returned in this state of isolation and everyone trying to tiptoe around him and essentially people please, I do get why he has this immediate negative reaction to Tristan. And it is great to see that he wasn't, like, so before, once again, we see in that Jade flashback, they kind of always was a Tristan Glazer, but still, he's not the ultimate Tristan Glazer just yet, where he's like, yeah, I'll acquiesce to anything you say. He automatically assumed, just based on what the rest of the world has reacted to him in his circumstances, he just assumes that Tristan's going to react the same way, because why wouldn't he? But we find out that Tristan could not care at all, as he says, "Mommy and Daddy are out on diplomatic work. I figure we can go out and play without getting in any trouble." It feels... I hate what happened to the words Mommy and Daddy, bro. Like, for the longest time, I called my own creators that. Like, my originals that made me their remakes, I was like, yeah, Mommy and Daddy. But, like, both of those words have gotten so weirdly... Like, and, you know, I'm not... We're in a 4 Nights review. What are the chances? I think it's safe. I'm not here to judge nobody. Alright? I get it. And it's just weird. It is weird. Like, I always hear the term or the saying, Freud would have a field day in the modern day. And yeah, he'd be right. Because the way those words have been freakified... Why? It's just weird. It's weird to me. It's weird to me. But I know I'm old. I'm strange. I'm backwards. I'm not with the times. I'm not hip. I'm very old. So I get it. I'm weird. But still, ooh. But I don't blame Tristan, because I know me at 12 years old, I was still calling them Mommy and Daddy. I think I stopped at like maybe 16 when I started calling them father and mother, because the words had gotten freakified by that point. I just couldn't say it without feeling weird. That's strange. But that aside, we see that Tristan is like, come on now, staying in your room all day is boring, isn't it? And while Kion is definitely reading, I understand that. Especially like, and notably, I was definitely more an inside kid, and I didn't actually like play with toys all too much. I know my mom with the pencil always said, you were a strange kid, because you didn't really, like, you rocked with the weirdest stuff. Like, you like sketchbooks and yapping. And maybe like some other things, but you weren't really a toy kid, even though I do have a whole bunch of my old toys still. But regardless, I do get it, right? Staying in your room all day, especially when you have the opportunity to like go and do things, it is pretty boring. But ultimately, we see that Tristan, in his really pure innocence, literally going la 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 la, is trying to get Kion to come along, have a little bit of fun, go outside, touch grass. When's the last time you touched grass? Yes, I'm breaking the fourth wall. You in particular, watching this video, let me know in the comments if you've touched grass recently. Have I touched grass recently? I always walk by grass. I don't walk on grass. Let me see. Actually, when was the last time I did? I am to go touch grass. Wait. Is that the pot on the kettle? But when was the last time I touched grass? Like, actually touched it. Like, I don't think stepping on grass counts as touching grass. Because, like, you didn't touch it. I need to go touch grass. I'm sure. Right after this video, I have to go touch grass. Because I don't think I've touched grass in months. When's the last time I actually, like, went and touched grass? Oh lord, it may have legit been like fall, or something when I was like picking up leaves. No, it was fall because like I got down and to pick up leaves and stuff like that and sticks. So I touched grass then, but still that's like months ago. That's like November. I need to go touch grass. Please go touch grass. But regardless, we do get to see that Kyan actually gets a little bit annoyed with Tristan and says, I'm holed up in here because I want to be. I'm not holed up in... Sorry, I said the exact wrong thing. And it's crazy. He actually does smack Tristan. But I'm not holed up in here because I want to be. All right? There's just no telling when that woman will attack... Pencil can speak, I swear. When that woman will attack me again. Mom and Dad are afraid enough that they put me in this room, covered by a barrier. What will you do if something happens to me, huh? Kyan very much... He explodes. Naturally, once again, he is very young here, 12 years old. I'm not sure about y'all, but 12-year-old me and emotional control... They did not mix. Those are not two phrases that mix very easily. And obviously, Kyan definitely has been holding back a lot. He's been trying to be cordial, been trying to be polite. Obviously, he was raised as a royal. And I don't know too much about royalty, but it seems that they are raised to a much higher standard to be prim and proper and carry appearances and stuff like that. So to get to see Kyan break here and ultimately discuss the pain of his isolation and stuff like that actually is good to see. One of the more human moments from Kyan that isn't just straight Tristan glazing and or vengeance. Those are like the two most human moments of Kyan, where it's either just direct glazing or straight vengeance. But regardless, we do get to see that Kyan does bring up a pretty valid point. Like, what will you do if she just shows up and diffs me? But in Tristan's defense, as we'll see later on this very chapter, I think 12-year-old Tristan probably beats the brakes off a majority of the human cast of the original series. Like, pretty violently. Even 12-year-old Tristan is built like that. And as we see Kyan and Tristan both have this moment of awkwardness where they're like, you just hit me? The king's son? I will have you executed. I don't care if you're my cousin by neighbor. But, of course, more pressing matters come in the form of a... Oh, I've just broken that barrier now. I subconsciously, in the live reaction, which is about 26 minutes, you can check it over on Patreon for those. $1 month, you can member for those. $3 month, you get the live reaction. I subconsciously gave her the Vexen voice. The Vexen voice. One, because I don't have any female voices. I'm not, like, the only female voice I have is this one, and I'm not going to give that. But, and obviously, like, just higher pitched voices. But I subconsciously gave her the Vexen voice. And it unironically matches so well with Vivian that it disturbs me. It actually disturbs me. But regardless, back to the Vexen voice. Oh, I've just broken that barrier now. Ah, Kyan, my beloved. See, this was so much better in the live reaction because I was zoomed in. I could, like, hide behind the manga to show that not, like, make the tongue noises on camera. But regardless. Mommy's come to take you back. And hey, I don't know what kind of freaky deaky magic she used, but if he was truly gone for 6 years and he was kidnapped at 6, she made that weight, boom, disappear, gosh darn it. Like, as a person who's been trying to get his weight down for a minute now, and by minute, I mean years, as a person who's been trying to get his weight down and under control for a minute, Vivian, you ain't even got no stretch. That is impressive. I'm not sure if there's a transformation spell or something, but look at the silhouette. That's 5 Vivians right there, and she slammed down. I know she's a terrible, monstrous human being who was originally obsessed with Dreyfus at the end of the original Seven Deadly Sins, so I do forget the context. I need to go reread the Kyan side chapter in order to make sure I get context for that, because I could have sworn she was obsessed with Dreyfus, but then maybe Dreyfus was just like, please, get off me. I used to have a wife, and I'm not interested in another. But regardless, the weight loss is legendary. The tongue game is insane. And I know some of y'all wish y'all were Kyan right now, but regardless, that's the most impressive part to me. Forget the fact that she broke the magical barrier. Sure, just absolutely canceled that bad boy if she figured out where it was. But still, the weight loss is crazy impressive. Vivian, what's your secret? Is it magic? If it's magic, I can't do it. But if you just want to weight well, like, what was that? But regardless, she got in. She got freaky. Her tongue is insanely long. Like, insane. Like, that's as far as I go. I can shape it. I can manipulate it a little bit. I can roll it. But extend it that far? Like the tongue is as long as her chin. There's still a whole lot of chin. I'm not sure. Then again, I've seen people with some freakishly long tongues. Should I go into any further? No, we won't go into any further context. But I've seen some freakishly long tongues in my day. In person, by the way. Don't ask why. But regardless, I've seen them. That's still impressive. That's a record break. It doesn't even look like it's all the way out either. Golly, Vivian, impressing me on 2 levels. on the weight loss and the tongue length. But regardless, we see that the horn is sounded. The barrier is broken. Intruder. And we see, oh, poor Margaret. I'll admit, I do genuinely feel bad for Margaret. Did Veronica ever? She learned how to fight, though. That's the one thing I have to be like, Margaret, really? Over the 6 years your son was kidnapped and whatever little time he's been back now, you didn't learn any magic? But still, she's a non-combatant, and she sort of had her body taken over by Ludishel. Though then again, I believe Ludishel mentioned she had pretty high magical potential. That's why he took her body. She didn't learn any spells, but Gilthunder in particular is about to have a very hefty, juicy, scrumblyumptious, as we call it in the business, Eldad moment, as he says, Vivian, take your hands off my son. We see he's wielding his blade, he's sparked up, it looks real good. Like, this man, he's in his 30s by this point, but he has not aged a day, looking handsome and fine as wine. But we see that Vivian decides to drop some bars on us and says, kill, long time no see, a bit grayer now, I don't know what grayer she's seeing. That man looks like he has not aged a day. And notably, the main reason I keep the beard and I'm trying to, grow it out a bit, even with how rough your boy's been looking, overall, is because if I shave this, y'all have seen it. Y'all have seen beardless me. When I shaved it all off by accident. I had meant to shave off, a little bit. I meant to, trim it down a little bit, because I was trying to be cheap, and not go to a barber. And I shaved it down, and I was like, oh, shoot, and I went all the way down. And I was like, well, I can't have an uneven beard, so I shaved the other side down. I just had a goatee. But I didn't like the goatee, so I shaved it. So y'all can go back in the lore. In fact, in 4 Nights review, you can see beardless pencil. I look like a baby. I look and don't get me wrong, I'm happy to still have my youth in me. I'm glad to not crack. But still, it is rough without a beard. It's why I'm scared to ever shave it off. Some people after a while just go clean shaven. Not only does a beard take forever for me to grow for some reason, including a stash. A stash takes even longer. But darn, man, I go from what I actually am to 12 in one shave session. It is crazy. But regardless, I don't think Gil has aged at all. But that may just be the fact that he lacks the beard that we'll see he has in 4 years' time. He grows out the beard in 4 years. But we see that while she does slide a calm insult, hits him with a low blow, she glazes Vivian a little bit as she says, and Margaret too, as ravishing as ever. How abhorrent. So Margaret, I would say she aged like fine wine, but apparently she didn't even age. She was left in the fridge long and well. She's still looking fine. And I respect it. I don't know what they put in that Leona's water. But clearly, apparently, Gilthunder needs it, since apparently he's going gray. But with it being the case, she drops the thread. But sorry, none of you move, all right? My hand might slip. And then I'll nick this cute little face. And of course we see Kion sweating, crying, tearing. The trauma's caught up to him as he thinks, I was sure I'd be taken again. Taken to a place I'd never escape from. No one dared to move. Not even my mom and dad. They feared that my body, not just my heart, would be maimed. Now, I would stand up, but last time I did this, and by last time I literally mean yesterday, when I was recording the Blue Lock review, I knocked my mic over and unplugged it and had a heart attack as I tried to reconnect it. But that aside, Eldad, bruh. Eldad, and you may be like, whoa, Pencil, he doesn't want to harm his own kid. And I do get that. But as Tristan will go on to say later in this chapter, I'm very much an ultimatum worst case scenario kind of guy. And if me, personally, as an individual, had to choose between my son being kidnapped again after I already lost him for half his lifespan, 6 whole years, and possibly not be able to get him back because he only escaped last time off for sheer luck and incompetence of his captor. If I had to choose between that and possibly losing him for the rest of my days and slightly harming him, especially if he's my only kid, it doesn't look like me and Margaret is making another one anytime soon, I'm going for it. Remember, this is the same man. I know, and y'all gonna be like, oh, here we go with Pencil, always bringing scaling into scaling this, scaling that. I'm sorry, I'm addicted. But speaking of, this is the same man that blitzed Ominous Nebula, by the way. Ominous Nebula, you know the thing that was dragging around Margaret by Ludishel? He blitzed that in order to protect Margaret by Ludishel. This man, Gilthunder, Blitz that. You mean to tell me the same Guild Thunder with how many more years of training and experience couldn't blitz Margaret? Couldn't blitz Vivian? Really? Really, like, I don't know. And maybe this isn't an Eldad moment, and maybe I'm the L father here. Once again, I don't have kids. Who knows? Probably in this scenario, I would be just as hesitant. But after, it'd be the one thing if this was the first time he was about to get kidnapped. But I lost 6 years with my son, my child, my offspring, my little remix. I'd be the original. My wife would be the other original. And we had a little remix. Man, I'm doing everything in my power to keep that remix. Everything, every last bit of me. So Guild Thunder not attacking here, not moving to defend his child, and just letting him go away over the fear of slightly harming him, marring his cute little face. No! I'll apologize every single day, but I'd be happy I'd be able to apologize to my kid and not think, oh no, what if I had done it? Like, dog. And admittedly, I don't think I'm a man of action too much, but like whenever my family, especially like once again, I don't have kids, but I presume at least if my reaction to my own family members and even family friends' kids, like when I've held children before, and I've literally turned into whatever, I think it's like an Office meme, like, I have known this baby for approximately 5 minutes, but if anything were to happen to them, I would slaughter everyone in this building and then myself. Like, I've turned into that 1,000 times over. Paternal instincts woke up forever ago. Like, I have no idea what caused it, but I have hard locked in, and those aren't even my kids. For my kid? Especially man, I'd have dropped the whole lightning bolt, like straight up. Guild Thunder, mega Eldad moment, but of course he needed to be a mega Eldad in order for a cousin on paper to come in and cook. As we see, someone just begins tip-tapping forward, and we see that Margaret cries, "Prince Tristan, wait, please!" And we see that Vivian starts to have a heart attack after hearing that name, and she says, "Tristan? Oh no, he's gonna give me back shots. Wait, is that the son of... Wait, no, one step further." Which, I understand. I would like... Well, Meliodas and Elizabeth are clearly chill people. Like, they're actual deities. Like especially at this point in the universe, like, they're monsters. So I'd get the absolute fear of their offspring. But of course, she grabs Cotton tighter. Notably, she does not teleport, once again revealing her weakness. She does still need, like, time and prep to teleport out. But we see that Tristan is like, "Hey, Kion, if I leave a scar that never goes away, I'll be your friend for life. It's a promise." And well, here's the thing. It sounds mad morbid. It does. Like, he's like, "I'm going to permanently scar you most likely. But don't worry, I'll save your life." And that's the most important thing here. It is mad metal, but honestly, this is the most Meliodas he's ever sounded to me. Like, and we've had Tristan for a while, a hot minute, well over 100 chapters at this point. But this is the most Meliodas thing he's ever said. Where he's like, "Don't worry, it's gonna hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. But regardless, we'll be friends forever." And then he proceeds to well, we'll get to that. But I do like that. I do like that at this point he has, like, even if subconsciously, he's showing signs of his father. Because he's very much his mama's boy. And like, hey, as a mama's boy myself, as a person who, 1, looks like a carbon copy of his mother, 2, has inherited a lot of the same morals and ethics as my mother, and 3, has spent a bunch of time around my mother, I am also a mama's boy. Because I do love my dad, as many of his traits that I do exemplify. A lot of his traits are nature that I've inherited versus the nurture that my mother has done for me. So I feel like Tristan's in a very same boat, where like he spent a lot of time around, he's deeply connected to, he heavily respects, and prefers the abilities that he has of his mother because he fears the side that he got from his father. He still is his father's son. And it's moments like this that clearly remind me of that. And we see Kion declare, "Oh, okay." And we see Vivian, who doesn't even look like Vivian. Like, this is a completely different character, dog. Like, you cannot tell me this character right here, outside of like the hairstyle, and this character right here are the same, as she turns fully into Vexen and says, I'm a scientist. I told you. Any funny moves?" And Tristan goes demon mark. And I'll be real. If there's one thing I wanted to see, I mean, like, maybe, because no, we don't really get his reaction fully in version of Edinburgh. I really want to know what Meliodas thinks of Tristan's demon mark. Because that's just his dad, bro. That is just the Demon King's demon mark, wholesale. And clearly, considering he's 12 here, he's had it like that since a young age. So I'd love to have seen Meliodas' reaction when Tristan first went demon mark, and he's like, "Of all the people you had to look like, You couldn't be like me. Couldn't be like your uncle. You had to inherit that man's mark. But regardless, he flexes straight into demon mark. Once again proving that goddess mode is just straight fodder, bruh. Goddess mode, it's just straight fodder doo-doo water, bruh. The most redundant and trash transformation. As someone, I think it was Kayed, so wisely put in last week's comment section, what do you mean, pencil? Or no, I think it was, no, I know exactly. In fact, let me pull up I want to quote them properly. Wait. Let me see. It was on the poll from last week. They're like, what do you mean? He powered up from goddess mode to base, the clearly stronger transformation. Let me see. Who said it? Yeah, it was Kai. Oh, no. It was Kyan Kyan, not Kyan, on the live reaction. And then he did it also on the post, base Tristan versus base Kaba death battle. And it was beautiful. Because I feel like everyone in the community, but especially in my comments, knows like, God's Tristan is just so cheeks, bro. And to see that confirmed here is even better. But we see he goes demon mark, and Vivian's like, oh, I didn't know you had unlocked that yet. And he booms her. Like, this looks straight like Hellblaze. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like Tristan went straight for the murder dog. Like, he did not care. He boomed her. Honestly, it is impressive that Kyan took as little damage as he did. As we hear Vivian scream, and Kyan informs us, the mage's attempt to take me while the royals were gone ended in failure. Vivian, near death, was arrested and jailed. Now, once again, you thought just the earlier part of Gilthunder willing to risk his son getting kidnapped again for possibly the rest of his life and never seeing him again was an Elfather moment. This is Elfather moment, the sequel. Gilthunder, you are the leader of the Holy Knights. You have the second most authority in this kingdom next to Big Mel himself and Big Liz herself. You are literally married into the royal bloodline, and you mean to tell me you didn't have Vivian executed for kidnapping your son? You just had her arrested and jailed. Gilthunder, you think she's bad, don't you? You think she's bad because there's no reason to keep her alive. And you know, I'm not for the taking of innocent life. Vivian's not innocent. She kidnapped your son for 6 years and has already proven that she can likely break out of or break into any protective barrier you erect. But you had her arrested and jailed. Not just like, come on now, Gilthunder. You should have turned into season 1 Gilthunder with this, bruh, because that is absurd. Eldad. Margaret, I get it. Margaret doesn't slaughter people. She's not used to that. Gilthunder, you call bodies. Fully sentient bodies, too. You ruin people's lives, Gilthunder. You could take this one. You can take that, like, God, Gilthunder. Worst father in the manga? You know what? I was about to be like, everyone raise your hand to say I. The Demon King. Oh, you escaped this one, Gilthunder. You escaped this one because the main evil guy was the dad. You lucky, Gilthunder. But we see that Kion, oh my poor Kion, the blade did make contact, and Tristan wild out. We see he had very little control over his demon mark. This is before Great of Edinburgh, so we know. But then again, I'm not sure when does Lance get a scar? What age? Is that 10? Is that 10? But regardless, if Lance gets a scar before this and Tristan's already afraid of his demon mark, it goes to show how much he genuinely cared for Kion by flexing his demon mark here and using it. But we see that man absolutely wild out and had to leave the vicinity in order to make sure he didn't harm anybody else. As we see, 3 days later, in a land far away from Leonis, Prince Tristan was rescued after using up all of his wild power. So, Demon Mark Tristan went bonkers, which I do find hilarious, but also very sensible. It does genuinely make me wonder, though, how are demons raised? Like, especially powerful demons. Like, how was Meliodas raised? Did the Demon King have to, or Chandler and Cusack, considering they raised the demon brothers, like, did they have to consistently smack them down? Like, is this how all demons are? As in, they don't know how to control their darkness powers at first, and thusly, we end up seeing a lot of demons stick in Demon Mark because that's their, like, mode of control and maintaining the control of that dark roiling power inside them, or it's just unique, and all demons have innate control over their darkness, and the only reason Tristan doesn't is because he's half human, with goddess attributes to him. I don't know. But if it is the former, where, like, all demons start out like this, I would love to get, like, a chapter of baby Meliodas, like wielding his crazy dark power, maybe even like going into a baby true magic form, or baby Zeldris, like once again, or any of the, like the baby commandments, learning how to control their abilities. This is a really interesting arc, and I'm happy we're going to get to see Tristan do it. And the reason I say we're happy we're going to get to see Tristan do it is we find out something about Tristan, or even Tantris, who has none of the burdens of Tristan and his demon mark power. The only thing that does kind of suck here, man, Nakaba, you can draw Elizabeth, dog. Like she can fly and keep up with Mel too. The fact that it's just Mel here that's coming to check on his son is really sad, because we know Elizabeth loves him, but we do not see her here. But regardless, we see while Tristan is off training by himself, Kion walks up and says, Prince Tristan. And Tristan turns like, oh, Kion! Oh, well, I guess that scar is here for good. And then we see that Kion, while obviously he's smiling, he doesn't seem to care. He says, but how were you able to do that, anyway? And Tristan goes, huh? Everyone there was too afraid of hurting me to act. Even my parents. That's such an Eldad move. But not you. And Tristan merely smiles and says, because scarring you wouldn't be the worst thing, right? The worst thing would be abandoning you. And I agree. Once again, I have no idea how I'd act with my kids. But, like, I'm trying to think of, like, the many babies, just because I have a large family. So, like, a bunch of family that's even older than me. I'm old, but I have family even older than me who have, like, produced offspring, and I've held them, and I've been, like, bonded. It's like, I'm not sure if you call it just social bonding. Like, I've bond to the baby. So, like, if I was ever in a scenario where, like, one of their kids was in danger, and the choice was let them be taken or slightly harm them in order to make sure they aren't taken and they can live the rest of their lives out with their parents with just a little bit of damage, or even a scar as noticeable as this one. Kion does go to grow out his hair to cover this scar, so clearly it does definitely affect him in a way. I think I'm attacking. I think I'm moving, bro. But regardless, we see Tristan shares my kind of mentality where, like, ultimately, we could have lost you again, Kion, and I didn't want to risk that. And we see Kion's eyes brighten and sparkle as he says, oh, always consider the worst case scenario, right? And Tristan says, I like that way of putting it. Sounds a lot more sane. And we see that they decide ultimately to go on that horseback ride that they wanted to go on, or Tristan wanted to go on. And says, but hey, let's go for a ride. Oh, I'm sorry. I never actually ridden a horse by myself. What? Actually, me neither. Escanor is not canon yet. He will only become canon by the time of Grudge of Edinburgh. But with that being the case, we see Demon Mark Tantris boxing against Gog Magog. And we see that Kion, desperate to get Prince Tristan back, calls out for him desperately. Prince Tristan, please, open your eyes! And we find out that Tantris, who has no baggage associated with his demon mode like Tristan does, says or thinks, I can stay conscious in this form for a bit over 3 minutes. After that, I will no longer be myself. I'm sure of it. So, he still does have that weakness. A thing that I was interested in, yet kind of worried about, was that the power progression of Tristan, in particular, considering he's the one with the most volatile ability set, he was going to master Demon Mark off screen, and we're going to maybe see him, like, learn Assault Mode or something like that. But I am actually happy that Tantris and Tristan both seemingly did not master Demon Mark at all over the 2-year period. We're actually going to get to see that arc play out, and see him further evolve his demonic powers, and then presumably it's going to go, he's already mastered his goddess powers, or can use them very, very well. He hasn't figured out poison healing just yet. That was a weakness of his in Grudge of Edinburgh, and presumably he still has that now. So we're probably going to see him master his goddess powers, then further refine his demon mark tech, and then he's probably going to further evolve the Nephilim state with things like annihilation and stuff like that. But regardless, we see him thinking of this false Isolde, the snake. I'd love to say the wolf in sheep's clothing, but the snake in sheep's clothing. And he says, but so what? This is all for Isolde's sake. And Tristan, or Tantris, decides, man, enough of this holding back nonsense, and proceeds to launch up into the air away from Gog Magog, my poor puffy spiky little son, and my big two-handed man. He's like, hey, want to see a magic trick? Abracadabra! And boom, straight through him. Well, once again, kind is not actually relative to Demon Mark Tristan. Any initial glaze I thought you could be like getting excited for in the live reaction immediately went away the moment he viciously blitzed through and annihilated Gog Magog. The both of them too. Honestly, Gog Magog may be one entity, considering this could just be like, it could be like a Wobbuffet situation where this is like the real body and then this is just like a construct that the tiny body controls. But both pieces of Gog Magog are absolutely blown through in this one attack and absolutely decimated. What happens when a spirit dies? I'm not sure, remember. Did it just get desummoned? Probably. But with it being the case, Tristan or Tantris lands so... Oh, minor art error I want to point out. Here, Tristan's only drawn with 2 wings, But then in the very next shot, he has 4 wings. Clearly Nakaba just forgot to draw the extra 2 wings. I think it'll be neat. I wonder if he'll correct that in the volume. Could be a neat detail to add. I think it'd be really cool having the 4 wings. You could probably have one arcing out here, fill up this blank space, and then another one arcing out here, filling up this blank space. That'd be neat. But regardless, he booms right through him and lands so hard that he literally shatters the stadium grounds. And you can see him shaking and trying to restrain the dark demonic power within him. But by that sheer act of restraint, by that sheer act of control, Kion realizes that even if he bears a different name, even if he fights for a different cause, even if he's not the exact man he once knew, he is still the exact man he once knew. And he falls graciously. Black Tantruses! The exaggerated swagger of a demonic teen, Black Tantruses, intense slash, imbued with its dark aura, has smashed up that stout golem in one strike. What a shock! All the crew's looking on in shock and terror and confusion, and we see Tristan does manage to revert to base, or Tantrus does manage to revert to base, showing he does have one distinct advantage. Well, actually, no. I was wrong about that in live reaction. We have seen Tristan flicker on Demon Mark, and then turn it off again. He did that against Molaskula. But notably, this is a much longer time for Tantrus in comparison to Tristan. Tristan could only flicker on demon mode for like half a second and not be angry, and then immediately revert back. But Tantrus is able to maintain the mode for a while, and then immediately depower from it. But we see that none of that matters to Kion, as Kion says, that form, you hesitated. You feared your own force. That's your resolve to protect others. Just as I always knew, you are nothing but the Prince Tristan I know and love. We see Kion is willing and ready to fall to his death, I guess, as he cries tears of joy, only for Tristan or Tantrus to come and immediately save him, activating fodder mode, aka goddess mode. He actually got weaker here than his base state. And we have Capital Need declare, the winner of match 3 in Block B is Tantrus. And Tantrus naturally asks, he hasn't been freed yet, but clearly there are cracks in his facade, as he says, but who are all of you? And that's the end of the chapter. You couldn't tell by my yapping, this is obviously a W chapter. I love this chapter. I love what it does for Kion. I love what it does for Tristan. I know I'm always happy to see a little bit of Meliodas in my Tristan. It has 2 epic Demon Mark showings, the one in the past and the one in the present. We get to see a whole bunch of glorious Nakaba choreography. We actually, I didn't mention this earlier, but a really clean dagger design for Vivian. Oddly specific thing, I know, but like I really like this dagger design. It's really cool. Overall, just a peak chapter all around. Perfect use of backstory, perfect use of rationalization for why Kion glazes so heavily. Perfect. I mean, it's flawed characterization, but hey, I do like flawed characters. So as much as I called Gilthunder an L father and Margaret an L mother, I didn't really call her an L mother, but still, Gilthunder, especially L father, I do get it. The conflict, the chaos, the fear, it's good character writing. Overall, this is just some of Nakaba's best work in terms of backstory writing, character writing, dynamic writing, interaction. I just love it all. Nakaba, man, when he's not being a weirdo, Nakaba can cook. But, of course, that is what I think. Please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave Tantrus black. Like Goku black, don't fire! This man isn't black! I'm sorry. But leave Tantrus black in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Hey, things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. And so now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks will include the 26-minute live reaction to this very chapter and variations of all my videos. And if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also do a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below where you can drop, that was 10, 5 beans for a short video or 25 beans for a long video. Any beans at all is always greatly appreciated. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Greyhound, Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier, XZ, G Prosper, Planet Crone, Zeta, and Brandon Payne. Then I'd like to give a little thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, and A+A. And then I'd like to give a huge thank you to our Ink tier members: Fine, Austin Wimberly, Euchiha, Yuki Ally, and Carlo Alaimo. Then I'd like to give a gargantuan thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our colored art tier patrons, Overlord Zero, Waki Minos, and iDemoKami. Then I'd like to give a final legendary top of the line thank you to our That Guy with a Pencil tier patron, the glorious king, Calvin Elder.